Should we talk about Zelda for just a little bit? Let's talk about Zelda a little bit, and then let's get into Q&A. I'm sure there are a lot of questions, a lot of things that you guys want to ask about. All right. So, Zelda movie. Legend of Zelda movie will open in theaters March 26, 2027 from Sony and Nintendo. Wes Ball, the director of the Maze Runner trilogy and Kingdom Planet of the Apes, remains attached to the helm of the video game adaptation. So this is super cool. I'll tell you a little bit about Zelda, just my love of Zelda. By the way, how many of you guys really like Zelda? You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking about the games, right? Of course, it's Link, right? But how many of you guys like those games? Throw a 1 into the chat if you've ever played a Legend of Zelda game. And if you're feeling it, tell me your favorite one, man. I gotta say, Majora's Mask or Wind Waker are probably my favorite ones. Like, I know everybody likes Ocarina, and Ocarina was great. Something about Majora's Mask, man. I actually like it more. And then Wind Waker, dude. I know the art style's not for everybody. It's like cel-shaded, super cartoony. But the fact that it was open world, the fact that you could steal your opponent's weapons and shit, dude, Wind Waker was nice, dude. I really like Wind Waker. Anyway, Zelda's an awesome franchise. Been around for a long time. One of the goats of early Nintendo games. Y'all remember that old cartridge, the pure gold one? Come on, man. How many of y'all remember that gold cartridge? Zelda for the original Nintendo? Oh, epic shit. So, big franchise we've known for a while. Nintendo looking to do more stuff with Hollywood. They actually, of course, did Mario Brothers. That's been huge. And as we've talked about a lot recently, video game stuff seems to be on the rise. You know, I thought the Sonic movie was great, the new one. And that franchise has done pretty well. The Last of Us is doing really well, right? Fallout's doing really well. I think they're going to make another version of Halo because I think the studios are starting to realize, like, oh, if we give this just a little bit of a better treatment here, this could really pop off. So video game stuff seems to be on the rise. So let's look into the actual article here and let's see what we can discern. Not right? Legend of Zelda. And the music, dude. The music. Oh, dude. They certainly have a cool IP here. Let's see how they're cooking. Legend of Zelda live action film sets March 2027 theatrical release from Sony Pictures. Hey, listen. The live action film adaptation of the Legend of Zelda video game franchise has set a theatrical release date. Sony Pictures will debut the adventure film co-produced by Sony and Nintendo on March 26, 2027. That's actually fairly close, man. The release date was unveiled Friday on Nintendo's new app, Nintendo Today, nearly a year and a half after the Zelda film was first announced in November 2023. At that time, Zelda series creator Shigeru Miyamoto confirmed plans for the live-action movie on social media, sharing that the film would be produced by Avi Arad and himself. It's a big question mark. Wes Ball, the director of the Maze Runner trilogy and the last summer's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. By the way, the Maze Runner trilogy is actually dope, dude. I really like those movies, so kudos. Remain attached to helm the project. Ball is a producer, along with Joe Hartwick Jr. under the Oddball Entertainment banner. The initial announcement was disclosed that the film would be co-financed by Sony Pictures and Nintendo, with Nintendo providing the majority of financial backing. Wow. So this is a little bit like the Marvel deal with the Spider-Man movies now. Like, they just keep getting... I'll explain that later. Casting and story details remain in the works. This is Miyamoto. I have been working on the live-action film of The Legend of Zelda for many years now with Avi Arad-san. I mean, it sounds so much better when you say it in that way. Who has produced many mega-hit films? Okay. Miyamoto wrote at the time, I have asked Avi-san to produce this film with me, and we have now officially started development on the film with Nintendo itself heavily involved in the production. That is really good. It will take time until its completion, but I hope you look forward to seeing it. Plans for Zelda film gained momentum after Nintendo teamed with Universal Pictures and Illumination Entertainment for Super Mario Bros. Released in 2023, and it made $1.3 billion It's the 18th highest global release of all time. That's pretty wild. Okay, so they set an actual release date. Seems like it's still going to be West Ball, and that's really cool. All right, so let's talk how this could go well. Let's talk about how this could go poorly. So, I think it comes down to a couple of things, right? So Wes Ball's really interesting. I actually think he's a really good visual director. He can do really cool things in scope. I think he's handled character stuff well. So I like the pick with Wes, right? It's going to depend on what Nintendo wants to do with this thing. Because Zelda has depth, but it can also work very surface level. Right? So like most Nintendo things, I think it's designed to mostly work on the surface level. It's like a kind of basic storytelling thing, and it's supposed to be accessible. Like that's the big thing about Nintendo, right? It's all accessibility, and you know, young and old people can just get into it and enjoy it for what it is. But I do think there's depth within Zelda and the mythology of Zelda and like the continuous versions of Zelda and Ganon and Link and all of those things, right? So it will be fascinating to see where this goes, but it feels like the direction is going to be dictated by Nintendo. If they're the majority of the financing, they're probably the majority of the creative control. So it's ultimately going to be really up to what Nintendo wants to do. And I would imagine if it's like the Mario Brothers thing, they want to kind of be accessible and they don't want to really take risks or do anything crazy. So we're not going to get like some super dark version of Zelda where Link's like cutting off heads and, you know, or whatever. Probably pretty surface level. But even then, it can absolutely work off of like atmosphere and tone. These games, and Miyamoto himself is known for incredible like art design and style. So I'm fascinated. You know, I'm going to follow this thing the whole way through. Casting rumors, set designs, concept art leaks, whatever happens. I'm really, really excited about this as a big old nerd. And I think, you know, most of us have some kind of connection to Zelda. And perhaps that's why the video game stuff is well positioned to be like the next big thing that pops off, because it has this built-in thing. Because if you didn't know this, by the way, the video game industry in total dollars is like 10 times bigger than the film industry and has been for like 20 years. It's just that it's not as culturally relevant. This is a little bit like what we've talked about before with like some of the biggest shows ever are just normie CSI, this blah, blah, blah show. Those shows can be huge, but they're not generating conversation on like in the coastal cities and like high society and culture. That's a little bit what video games have been like. And over the past 5 to 10 years, video games have like really became mainstream and really become a huge part of culture, both literally and also just in like the zeitgeist. So this is awesome. And I'm very excited to see what they do, man. I want to see the Master Sword, you know, the Ocarina of Time. Is there going to be young Link? Is it going to be old Link? Will Link talk at all? Are you going to do Navi? Are you going to do puzzles? Are you going to do the chest sound when you open up a chest? You know, like what kind of iconic shit are we going to get in the Legend of Zelda movie? I don't know, man, but it's 2 years away, so we'll probably start getting some information on it soon. Thanks for watching, and if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.